This is Tony for Cage Confessions, and I'm absolutely delighted today to be joined by Cage Warriors welterweight Senan Coakley. How are we doing?
Good, good, very good. Just fresh off the win on Saturday there. So, after any win, I like to just spend time with the people who mean the most, on my family and stuff.
Yeah,
So, I've been with ma since, with my ma, dad, and obviously just seeing everyone around me who supports me and everyone. So that's the main thing.
yeah. So are you back home now in Ireland? Then you didn't stay in Scotland too long,
No, no, no. I left. The flight was out of there on Sunday morning,
right?
so just back in Ireland now, and hopefully look to get back training now this week.
Yeah, and obviously the fight went your way, so congratulations. Did you envisage yourself having to sort of go 15 minutes?
Um, do you know what? In a weird way, I actually wanted the fight to go the full way. By the way, he was talking beforehand. we knew we knew the way he was talking and the way he was going on, and from looking at some of the videos he done,
Yeah,
we put together a game plan, me and my coaches in Fight Academy Ireland, and the game plan worked so perfect, and that's why I was just so happy with it. Now look, if the finish came while we were doing the game plan, I would have taken it,
yeah,
but just the style that we needed to do was going to be more so waiting on him to come, and he never came, so the shot didn't come, so
yeah.
that's what it was. When I actually started looking for the takedown properly and we got it, then I took his back, and I was landing some nice elbows down in the clinch as well. But it was just perfect. It was just perfect plan from my coaches. That's why I was so happy with, because sometimes in fights the only thing that actually lets me down is just not sticking to the game plan. I have a great skill set, but at professional level and at the level I'm at now, on these big shows like Cage Warriors, sometimes it's not the most skillful person that wins. It's the person who can stick to the right game plan for the whole fight.
Yeah.
They will get the finish, or they will get the win, and that's what I wanted to do. So when I knew I'd done that, I was like, this couldn't have went better for me.
Yeah, so how hard is that then? Because obviously there was a bit of animosity between the pair of you in the lead up to the fight. Him I think he sort of sparked it by saying you was going to be shooting from the first second of the first bell. Um, how hard is that in your head then? Because one, you obviously want to get the win, but equally you want to put some damage on this guy as well because there's a bit of aminos. Can't get my words out. You know what I'm trying to say,
I
but.
know exactly, bro. I can't even say that word either. Animosity. There
There
we
we go.
go. I know
You're better than
exactly
I
what you
am, and you've
meant.
just been in a cage fight. So yeah,
Oh, stop. No, lad. What was I gonna say to you? Yeah, look, whatever is talked beforehand, I don't like. I'm not really like. He said emotionally invested in the contest. I was just there for a fist fight.
yeah, yeah,
But no, no, it was easy enough, because that all happens beforehand. But the minute I make that walk and that moment before I get into the cage, I take a deep breath, and John Mitchell helps me a lot with it, where he was like, deep breath, your walkout's finished, all the animosity's finished. Now it's about going in here now, sticking to the game plan, because I knew if I stuck to the game plan and done what I needed to do, I would make him look silly in the fight, and I would show that I'm levels above. But I knew if I gave in and tried to fight emotionally and tried to take his head off, that it
yeah,
would play into him looking better than me, which he isn't. So once I stuck to the game plan, you could see then I started coming into it, started going into a flow state, start showing off a bit, and there was no like emotional in it where I'm like, I need to kill him, or I need to hit him, I need to hit him. I was just like, no, I'm sticking to the game plan. I'm gonna keep winning, keep winning, keep winning. And I
yeah,
just literally, as the fight went on, I just got better and better and better and better and better, and that was it. But that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I have so much experience, and why it's easy for me to do that, because I've had, 14 amateur fights. I've had 14 amateur fights. I've had two professional MMA fights. I've had more Muay Thai, junior Muay Thai fights than I can count. And even the junior ones, you're still getting used to the nerves as well. It's not as big stakes, and it's not something that I'd be like bragging about that I have all these junior fights, but I did have a lot of junior Muay Thai fights, and that helped me a lot with nerves and how to deal with nerves and how to actually get in and perform because you hear it so often. So many people are good in the gym, but they just can't do it on the night, and that's what
Yeah.
I'm sort of looking to master now is how can I master it on the night?
Yeah, absolutely. And the stare down as he was walking into the cage was pretty intense as well. Was that just something that was a kind of spur of the moment thing?
No, so if you actually go on YouTube and look at any of my amateur fights, I do it for all my amateur fights. I
Right.
actually stand in the middle of the cage and wait for the most of the time. If I'm in the blue corner, so I can, I literally, I'll walk out in the blue corner, I'll stand right in the middle of the cage and I'll wait on them. But there was like loads of camera crew around, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be looking like a fool here and getting in the way of the camera. So I was like, I'll just stand where I am now. And fortunately enough, someone got a video of it, and it's gone. It's the most viral video from the night,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are commenting on it and loving it, but it's not even an intimidation thing. When I'm staring at him, maybe he got intimidated, maybe he did, but I'm not doing it trying to be a bully and trying to intimidate someone. I'm actually looking at him and looking at every single thing about his body, the way he's moving, the way he's walking, because at the end of the day, in about a minute after he gets into the cage, all I'm going to be staring at for 15 minutes is how he's moving. So I'm
Yeah.
staring at his body and I'm just thinking about the game plan. I'm thinking about the worst situations that can happen in the fight. I'm thinking about the best situations that can happen in the fight. I'm thinking about what sort of shots that I need to look out for. What sort of shots do I need to be throwing? What distance do I need to be staying at? What way is he going to defend? That's what I'm thinking about there. I'm not staring at him being like, oh, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. I'm staring at him being like, okay, he throws these shots. I throw these shots. I'm better than this guy. I'm on this level. And I'm just taking the moment in.
Yeah, excellent. And obviously you got your hand raised. How would you sort of rank the performance if you was to go from, A star being the best, but how would you rank your performance?
No performance is perfect. At the end of the day, I got hit. I've a black eye there and a bruised nose, so it definitely wasn't perfect. But throughout the whole fight, I was just well ahead. There wasn't a bit in the fight where I was wobbled or whether there was not even. I didn't even take a deep breath in the fight, to be honest, which just shows the work I put in and the fitness I have. Like, and
Yeah.
and that's why I was disappointed after my pro debut that I didn't get to finish. But then all high level people around me were saying to me, no, the fact you went 3 5 minute rounds will
Yeah.
stick to you. And going into this fight knowing that I had done 3 5 minute rounds and Lewis didn't, I was like, this is on. Like, you haven't the clue, because
Yeah.
it gets, not that it gets lonely in there, but the rounds can be long and you're looking at someone for 5 minutes straight, looking at them, taking shots off them, throwing shots back. It can get to you a bit. And I knew it wasn't going to get to me. So I was just very, very happy that I could stick to the game plan for that long. And
Yeah,
it's such
that's
a credit. It's such a
yeah.
credit to my coaches. Again, it all comes back to the team I have around me and how much work they put in, and the fitness that they put me through. Pat McAllister dogged me every Tuesday and Thursday in the wrestling classes that we were doing. Shando absolutely dogging me in classes as well on pads, and then on the runs that we were doing. There was just so much stuff there in the training camp where I was like training to become fitter, but also game planning. And then as well as that, like him saying I was going to shoot in the first few seconds, and then I was doing training in Dublin Combat Academy, which is the number one Muay Thai gym in the whole of Ireland. And I was like, how does this fella think I'm going to shoot? I was like nearly confused. I was like, what? So I was getting great work in there with Collie and Craig. So, I've such good team around me. And that performance, one of the reasons I was very happy with it is because my whole team literally said that that's exactly how the fight will go. How it played out is exactly how the fight will go. And when it came out, I was like, this is just it's
Yeah.
great. I'm blessed. I really truly am blessed to be living this life.
Yeah, and it proves that you've got a great team around you as well. And, obviously everyone would like the viral knockout or the submission, but actually banking 15 minutes at this early on in your career, will only pay dividends down the road, surely. That's
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's what everyone was saying. I'll also like as well as that, the stoppages will come. You will see me get
yeah,
knockouts and you will see me get finishes. But again, styles make fights. Sometimes a style that you have to fight doesn't present the finish as easy as another style.
Yeah,
So I won't say
absolutely.
what styles I feel like I can knock out better, but I do feel like the knockouts and the submissions and stuff will come in the next few fights now.
Yeah, and you touched on a minute ago. You said you've got a couple. You've got a little bit of bruising under your eye and nose. Outside of that, though, is it? Are you all good outside of that?
I'm sweet. I'm sweet.
Yeah,
I've no injuries, nothing nothing bad coming from it. I had a few niggles in the lead up to the fight, but they're all sorted now, and now I'm just gonna focus on my recovery for the next few weeks, and obviously that's not taking time off training. I love training. I actually enjoy it more so I'll be in the gym enjoying my training, but
yeah,
you know, obviously just focusing on getting them niggles sorted now and hopefully have a busy end to the summer then as well. Maybe try and have one or two fights before the year's up. But again, I'm only 22, Tony.
yeah,
I'm as much as I want to fight 5, 6 times a year, it's not practical when you're this young because you also have to skill develop.
sure.
You've to build yourself up as well. You know, you don't want to be. I don't want to be 23, 24 and 10 and 0 and then it's like okay, the only fights now are the biggest in the world, and you're taking stupid fights in stupid places that you shouldn't. You know,
Yeah,
I want to build right. I've took two hard fights, but two fights where you know they weren't stupid. It was someone of equal experience and someone who is at the same stage of me.
yeah,
So that's what I'll continue to do. And when I'm ready to take the step up, I'll listen to my coaches. You know, they make the decision for me. It's
yeah,
like they're the guy playing the PlayStation and I'm the video
got it.
game. They're
Yeah,
just controlling what I do and then I'll just do it.
yeah. So have you? You obviously was with them at the weekend. Have you guys sort of got knocked your heads together and sort of got a plan as to when you could realistically be back out this year?
Um, not yet, but look, I've put on such a good performance. I talk the talk beforehand. I talk the talk afterwards. I, I'm defo. I know how much value I can bring to the organization, but let's see if Cage Warriors want to come back and give a fight for the summer, for end of summer, for the end of the year, or whatever the plan is. But yeah, when I sit down with my coaches, they'll tell me, and I'm happy to agree with whatever they think.
Yeah, and it'd be good to see you fighting on home soil. What was that whole experience like going over to Scotland? How was you kind of greeted by the crowd?
Not very welcoming, and that's fair enough. You know, the
Yeah,
Scottish crowd is unbelievable. They're very similar to the Irish. You know, they get behind their own a lot, which I was very impressed by. But you know, I said in another interview, lad, when I was 13, I fought someone in his hometown on a main event of an adult show, and he was 16 at the time. Um, and I went into enemy territory and I won again. I love the toxic crowd. I love going into someone's backyard and beating them because when I was walking out, you could see me looking at them all booing, smiling and laughing because I was like, excuse me, but I was like, at the end of the fight, yous are all gonna be completely shocked, and yous, their faces are gonna change. So fair play to them for coming out and supporting their boy. I'll always respect anyone that goes to these fight shows because it helps us fighters get out there. It helps the sport grow.
yeah,
But when they were booing me, I was loving it. That does not phase me. It takes a lot more than a boo to phase me, to be honest. So I was loving it, to be honest. That's why I was
yeah.
smiling at them.
And do you feel whether it's the crowd or the the bit back and forth with your opponent beforehand, does that actually help within the fight itself? Obviously, you're going in there to have a fight, so actually having something to sort of go against that must help to an extent, does it, or does it not really play much part of when you get in there?
Help in terms of like
So, because obviously you had some back and forth with him, so there was a bit of ill will, whether that was, and post fight was great to see you both kind of embracing stuff. So, but having that kind of animosity beforehand with someone, or getting the boost from the crowd, does that help to spur you on at all? Is that it kind of white noise at that stage? It doesn't really matter because you're just going in there and doing what you're going to do.
no. So look, no matter what is said before the fight, whether we absolutely hate each other, whether we absolutely have respect for each other, whatever it is, I'm still gonna train 4 or 5 hours a day. I'm still gonna spar every week. I'm still gonna do my fitness. I'm still gonna look after everything that I need to look after in that camp. It's not gonna make me do anything extraordinary. It's not gonna make me become emotionally invested. It doesn't. What it does help, however, is obviously the fans. That's what they want. Unfortunately, people are attracted to controversy and that. So, I personally I don't do it for fun. I won't let's say I won't shy talk someone for fun. I won't turn around and say, I'm gonna knock this fool out in the fourth round, wait and you see, mark my words, all that. That's not me, I'm not that type of person. If they want to start it, I will finish it, however. So look, if
Yeah.
anyone's fighting me and you do want to go back and forth, you can start it and I tell you what, I will finish it. And I think I did finish it in the lead up and also in the fight as well. So it doesn't help me train harder, fight better, or anything like that. But what it does help is the crowd and the fans. So if that's
Yeah.
the case, that's the case.
Absolutely. And what was it like fighting for Cage Warriors for the first time? Because obviously it's a huge promotion within Europe. Was there much? Did you make much difference in terms of where you fought before? The crowd, the production, that kind of stuff.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Of course, like the 5,300 people that the stadium holds, like, it's not
Yeah.
often you get to walk out with that many people watching you, and the place was nearly packed for my fight, and I was like the fourth fight in, so it was really good. Production is amazing, walkout's good, even like my friends and family who were watching it, they were even saying like how sick it was that like I was like it was in 4K. You could see the walkout. You could see everything. Like
Yeah.
everything was just so good the way it was ran. So like the fact that everyone was so happy to be able to see me on such a good production like that, I was buzzing to be there and buzzing to be putting on a show. But once I step into a cage, whether that's on Cage Warriors, whether that's on a regional show, whether that's on in the UFC, whether that's on anything else, I'm there to do a job, and that job will be done.
Yeah. Absolutely. And what was it about Cage Warriors that sort of enticed you to sign up with them?
So that was just a one fight contract there, but
Okay. Right.
it wasn't that, and obviously I'm very aware of how big Cage Warriors was, and I'd love to fight on it,
Yeah.
but they literally just offered my coach. They said, look, we can't get this guy matched welterweight making his pro debut, and my coach was like, what do you think? And I was like, what do you mean? What do I think? Let's do it. Let's go. And
Yeah.
we done it, and that was it. They accepted, we accepted, and the fight was made. It wasn't anything special, it was just two lads looking for a scrap.
Yeah, absolutely. So, have you planning to sort of reach out to Cage Warriors through your team to look at potentially getting back onto any of their next upcoming shows?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm open to absolutely everything. Again, it's when I talk to my team and when I talk to John Mitchell Management, we'll just see what the best option is. At the end of the day, you know, from when I first had my first junior fight when I was 11, it was always my brother and Collie at the time. They would pick the fights, they would pick when, they would pick whatever it may be. And now that I have Pash, Shando, and John, they pick when, they pick where, they pick who it's going to be. And I'll just follow whatever they say. The minute they say to me, what do you think about this? I'll say, yeah. So it's up to them to pick whether it's a good fight and whether it makes sense for me. So it's purely on them. And I think a lot of fighters need to take a leaf out of that book and have people there. And I have such good people who support me and look out for me, so I just have my full trust in them and my full faith in them to pick whatever's best for me. But
Yeah.
if I'm talking myself, hopefully Cage Warriors give me something here. Like, come on, lads, look what I'm after doing.
Yeah.
Debut,
Well,
featured prelim bout, most viral video on the night, put on a show. I can't see why they wouldn't. But yeah, that's purely down to my team.
yeah. Well, you didn't do yourself any harm in that regard, that's for sure. And you just mentioned your brother, and is that your brother Craig, who I think
Yeah.
was a Muay Thai fighter. So I'm assuming outside of the amateur fights and the pro fights, you and him had many scraps at home as well. Your mum and dad must must have loved that.
Yeah, yeah. Craig is still fighting, lad. The dog
Oh,
is still
okay, right.
he's defo. The dog is defo still in Craig. He is not yet finished. I think he has a big fight now in the summer, which is going to be unbelievable. And like that again, Craig was the reason why I started this sport. I
Yeah,
was 8 years old when I started. It was he joined like 2, 3 years before that, and he had a few fights, and then his gym opened up a kids class, and Craig brought me down. And if it wasn't for Craig, I wouldn't have been in this sport. So I owe basically everything to him because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. He wouldn't have
yeah,
I wouldn't have ever joined a gym if it wasn't for him. And obviously, then I just went down the MMA route, and he stayed at Muay Thai. But we help each other so much, He helps me with my game. He helps me level up. He knows me more than anyone on this planet. Like, he really does, cause we spent so much time together growing up. Like, I'm sure you can imagine. I don't know if you have siblings yourself, but
I've got a
growing up,
younger brother who I used to practice all my professional wrestling moves on. Yeah, that's
there you go, lad. There you go. So you imagine the amount of time you spent with your younger brother, but then you add an extra 4 hours because when you're going training twice a day,
yeah,
you're going training with him.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we,
yeah,
we know each other so well, and he knows my game, and it was so good that I was fighting someone like Lewis because Craig, like, they obviously tipped him highly to be a good striker.
yeah,
And when I sent it to Craig, Craig just straight away was able to go, this. You're not a wrestler. You'll be able you'll be able to outstrike him, no problem. Do this, and this. So between him, between Pat, between Chando, John, Cully, like I've just so many like I'm just so grateful I've that many people around me who were able to just go, this is what we're gonna do. Go out and do it. And it worked a treat. Everything went to plan.
yeah, absolutely. And outside of your brother, you've obviously also within the gym, you've got a Cage Warriors champion in Paddy McCory as well. So it must sort of
Yeah.
be nice, must be a nice feeling when you can kind of visualize the people that you're training with and sharing the mats with, and the success that those guys have, and when you're holding yourself against the caliber of fighters as Paddy and the likes, that must give you an extra boost when you're in the cage. So actually, I've been through tougher things during training. Probably that's
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. Like, again, it's just such a credit to the time that Pat and Chando put into Fight Academy Ireland. They're literally in that gym, like they're in that gym, like one of them is in that gym 24 hours of the day, nearly it feels like,
yeah, yeah,
always putting work back into the fighters, back into all the classes, back into the gym. And the fact that Paddy's a Cage Warriors champion is a credit to that. The fact that Paul is pushing on in PFL, the fact that John now is going to be a world beater and going to get to the UFC now very soon. Reese McKee and like the Don, like I could
yeah,
literally sit here and for 5 minutes and name out all the lads.
yeah,
It's all the high level lads in the gym, and then you have the likes of me coming up. You've Corey McLaughlin. He's fighting this weekend as well. There we go. We've Blaine McGill making his pro debut, James Slavin making his pro debut this weekend, not to mention all the amateur fighters up this weekend as well.
yeah,
And you know what it is, bro? It's such a credit because our fight was Saturday,
yeah,
and Pat and Chanda were back in the gym Sunday morning doing all the fighter circuits with all these fighters. It moves on so quick in Fight Academy, and I wouldn't have it
yeah,
any other way. You get 1 or 2 days to enjoy the moment, and you should take them times to enjoy the moment. But
yeah.
after that, it's like you get back to the gym, everyone says well done, and it's like,
On
okay,
to the
straight into
next one.
doghouse rounds.
Yeah.
You
I
know what
was
I
going to
mean?
say because it only seemed like yesterday that PFL Belfast. I think you ended up going to the show, but that
Yeah.
it was basically the Fight Academy Ireland highlight show because there were so many, and it was great when they zoomed to the kids in the crowd as well. The young kids who are training there as well. So it is a credit and a testament to the gym, and it's nice as well for the longest time when Irish MMA was talked about, it was SBG, SBG, SBG. So it's great to see the evolution of that across the wider island, and to see gyms like Fight Academy pumping out so many top talent across so many different promotions is great to see.
Yeah, yeah, it's so good. It's so good. And it's again, like we're moving into a new facility now on Saturday, which is gonna be, bigger than the one that we're already in. It's gonna help give back to the fighters, and that just shows the type of people that are in the gym. All the
Yeah,
coaches there are full time for the fighters. I'm talking about Pat and Shando a lot, but there's so many other coaches there. Adam, I always hit pads with. You see all the lads around the gym. They want the best for the fighters. I can't
yeah,
stress that enough. Like, no one in Fight Academy is fighting to enjoy, and be in the moment and do this. Everyone in Fight Academy wants to be the best in the world,
yeah,
and that's shown by how much of a family it is. And I'm just very grateful that they welcomed me into the gym, and I'm able to pursue such big fights, and I'm able to have such good teammates around me that support me as well. So again, like that, we're moving into a new facility on Saturday. I think there's 8 amateur fights on Saturday night, on Sunday, and one pro fight with Corey on Sunday. Then I'm not sure about amateur fights on Saturday, but there's James Slavin and Blaine McGill making their pro debuts on Saturday. So the ball just keeps rolling and
yeah,
rolling and rolling. There's no stopping us. We're coming through, and we're establishing ourselves as the best gym in Ireland, and we are. Look at the results. I think we've like 6 Cage Warriors world champions. You know, you've a broad spectrum of fighters across PFL, UFC, Cage Warriors now,
yeah,
and then obviously Brave as well. Like, there's just so much broad spectrum of fighters in the gym that sometimes there's actually that many fighters that you forget. You forget who's there, and what
yeah,
what they're doing, and you're like, Jesus, he's fighting this weekend. He's fighting this weekend. I
yeah.
love it though. I love that I get to represent that gym now, and be the one to put a mark on Cage Warriors now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on saying, you get a couple of days after the fight to enjoy it and, take a step back. What have you been enjoying the most? Is there any, we often say with the weight cuts, the other side is the food that you guys miss out on. Has there been any good treats that you've been wolfing down since Saturday night?
Yeah, I've been all right, to be honest. Now, to
Right.
be fair, yeah, last night there I did have a pizza and a few cookies, like, but in terms of spending them 2 days to enjoy it, I'd more so, for me, it's just about spending time with family,
Yeah.
because my mom and dad traveled over for the fight, and I know how nervous the fights are for them, and I know how much, like, they see me gone, like, like, they live in Dublin and I'm up in Belfast, so they don't get to see me a lot. There could be
Yeah.
like 3-4 weeks at a time that they don't get to see me, and then I do come down and they're like, "Oh, we'll go for food," and I'm like, "No, I have to train and I have to eat and I have to cook my food here, and I can't eat out, and I can't spend time, which is."
Yeah.
So, to be honest with you, the days after the fights, I like to just make sure that I'm with them, and make sure that I go for food with me mom, I go for food with me dad, I do nice things with them, because at the end of the day, they've supported me in this career, no matter what they think of it, no matter how nervous it makes them, no matter how stressful it may be for them. So now is the time to give back to them before probably I end up going into another camp, and then they don't
Yeah.
see me for weeks again.
Starting again. Yeah, yeah. It never ends. It never ends. No, great.
No, no,
Great
no.
stuff. And just interested as well, because on your Instagram bio, you mentioned that you're an online fitness coach as well. Is that something you are still pursuing on the side as to training?
Yeah, yeah. So that's 100%. That is my like my main job. I help people achieve their best physiques, and I've done loads. I'm sure you've seen the pinned post on my
Yeah,
page. I've gotten some great results, and that's something that I'm very passionate about. Obviously, just in the lead up to that fight, there was a lot of stuff from in the build up to the fight, so the content from that's pulled back a bit. But I
sure.
will be posting more online fitness content, posting some more valuable tips for people to help them on their journey to losing weight and to build a muscle, or whatever it may be, improving performance. Because at the end of the day, I see the value of what a structured plan can do for someone, and having a goal. I just think one of the most important things for a man or for a woman is just having a goal in life that they can pursue, and that they can honestly say that they've done their best to go after that. And that doesn't have to be like me to be a UFC champion, or and like that. That can literally be something as, I just want to make sure that I win every day and that I do something productive every day. and that's what I want to do, and that's what I want to help people with. So I'll continue to do that, and I'll get back on doing that, and opening up more spaces for clients now as well, because you know yourself, I do be very busy coming up to fights, so I do have
Yeah,
to stop intake, and then after fights, then I open it up again.
yeah.
So now I'll be opening it up a bit more now this week, and hopefully get back to helping more people.
Yeah, well, you could say, well, if you train like me, you can go 15 minutes without even breaking a sweat. That's
That's it, lad. That's it, lad. 100%, 100%.
and you just touched on the goal, and you that may have just been a throwaway comment, but is the goal ultimately to be a UFC champion?
I am in this to be the best to ever do it and nothing less, because it's a tough sport. You can see my face, you can see everything that I sacrifice. I wouldn't be sacrificing this just to be an average fighter or just to do things half-arsed and not make it all the way. I am in this sport to make it all the way and to be the best ever and to finish this sport knowing that I was the best. I don't care about anything else.
Okay, perfect. And last couple of questions. Your nickname is Coco. What's the origins of that nickname, and who gave you that nickname?
Literally just me. My brothers called my two older brothers were called Coco.
Right.
Growing up, it was like their nickname around their friends, and then it was their fight nickname. So I was like, well, I'm the little one, so I might as well just take it on as well. So that is literally it. No one even calls me Coco, nothing. But there's a there that's the, they were their nicknames growing up, so I just took it on.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Excellent. And just obviously you've not got a next fight planned yet, but assuming you get another fight this year, for someone who's never seen you fight before, how would you describe your fight style?
I am exciting. Exciting. I want to be exciting in there. I want people to be watching my fight and go, this fella has something about him, and I do have that, and you can see it in my fights that I do have something about me that people want. But in terms of a fight style, you know, Bruce Lee once said you should be like water. You should mold into any style. So, I'll mold into whatever style I want to be to beat someone. So that's the style I have. I can be what I want. Whatever I can be whatever style I need to be to beat someone.